Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy Phyzik. Going on a different tangent today, and I mean a severely different tangent to any of the other videos I've previously done on this channel. For today, I'm stepping away from gaming, but I'm also stepping away from, well, gaming is the only other thing I've done, I suppose. So, this will be completely different to anything I've done before. Basically, there's going to be a new section on my channel. Well, there's going to be two new sections on my channel. One, Physic's rants. You witnessed one yesterday with PewDiePie. And two is Physic's talks. Physic's talks are going to be a bit more serious. Physics rants are going to be a bit more cynical. So for today, Physic's talk. This is a big subject that I care a lot about because it's been in my life a lot, and it's been in my family and my friends' life a lot. So, drugs. This Phyzik talk is going to be called Addiction, Misinformed and Misunderstood. Over the time, I've learned a lot about the psychology of drugs and the effect that they have on their body. I find them to be fascinating, terrifying, but a lot of the reasons why many other people would find them terrifying is because of our good friend, the media. But I'll go on to that very soon. Drug addiction has one of the most ugly, horrendous stigmas attached to it, which is it's actually completely ridiculous. We look at it in the total wrong way, and I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying in general, the large majority of the public look at it in a certain way that is fairly incorrect, and yeah. It's a lot to do with our good friend the media. I mean, just look at the war on drugs and how well that hasn't gone. For the past, several decades have looked at drugs as being a criminal issue. And that's a very important part of what I'm discussing today. I don't believe it to be a criminal issue to an extent. What I'm talking about is a single person's addiction. That is not a criminal issue. That is a issue of mental health. Addiction is an illness. It's illness of the mind, just the same as depression is an illness of the mind. It is not a criminal issue. If you start looking into those that are addicts and the way that they were brought up, the way that influence around them was and how it affected them as they were growing up, this can have a dramatic effect on whether a person can become an addict or not. So if we look at drugs themselves, no drugs are mentally addictive. That is fallacy, that is incorrect information. You've probably been told that a billion times, but sorry guys, that's completely wrong. There is no such thing as a mentally addictive drug. There is such a thing as an addictive person or an addictive personality, but the drugs themselves can very well be physically addictive, but that is a select few drugs out of the many recreational psychoactive drugs that are out there. So let's look at weed, for example. A lot of the times you'll hear in the media that it's mentally addictive. It's nonsense. If it was a mentally addictive drug, then everyone that smoked it would lead to an addiction. In actual fact, it very rarely does. It's absolutely hilarious. Basically, the government is just proving the fact that they are quite happy to carry on with alcohol being legal, even though it is possibly the deadliest drug out there, very easily so. But hey ho, they make a bit of dosh off it on the side. Fuck it, why not? Same goes with tobacco. the most pointless drug in the world. Big tobacco companies and governments, there are secret handshakes going on. I think we all know that, or we all should know that. Just look at vaping and e-cigarettes, the way they are now clamping down on that, which is completely ridiculous. However, them clamping down on that would mean that big tobacco might be able to get their small cigarettes, e-cigarettes back on the market. But anyway, that's a talk for another day. So it is important to understand current forms of news. News channels used to revolve entirely around facts. Not opinions, not views, fact. Whereas today, news has become almost another form of entertainment, dealing with a lot more human interest stories. News has also become so sensationalized that it's barely possible to tell what is really real in this world and what is actually going on and how it will affect you as a person. Because, to be blunt with you, not that many exciting things will probably happen in your life. There probably won't be a huge earthquake that will swallow your town whole. There probably won't be a big terrorist attack that will kill fucking hundreds of people. The news likes to create drama where there isn't any, and this becomes a big thing with drugs. There are countless news articles on drugs which are all complete fucking bull honky. Let's look again to weed, just because that's one of the biggest ones in the news. Cannabis and the whole skunk thing and the whole psychosis thing. Basically, if cannabis was to be legalized, then it could be dispensed in a way where a person could be analyzed, and their mental state could be analyzed before the person was able to take the drug. I mean, again, not everyone that smokes weed is going to end up with psychosis. That's completely ridiculous. Not everyone that smokes weed is going to end up with paranoia. If you have psychotic tendencies, you're going and you want to smoke weed, I'd thoroughly advise you against it. In fact, I'm not advising anyone to smoke weed in any state. That's not what this channel is about. But what I'm saying is that news likes to sensationalize things to a big extent. The government will also love to pander on us and make it seem like it's looking after us. This again goes into the police with the crime, where hey, we seized loads of drugs, the police are doing such a great thing for us. And I'm not bashing police, okay, before you start going off on that. Police do a great fucking service to this country. I'm not, that again, a talk for another day. So let's look at addiction and drug addicts. Drug addicts, in the eyes of the law, are criminals that need to be locked up. This, just saying that, just uttering those words is almost hurtful for me to say. Because drug addicts are the last people that need to be put in fucking prison. Drug addicts are actually the people that are usually already victims. In large amount of the cases of people that become addicted to hard drugs came from a hard background, came from a perhaps poorer backgrounds, perhaps from abusive families, perhaps from parents that use drugs themselves. A person's childhood is going to have a great impact upon the rest of the person's life and the rest of the person's potential addict life. So yeah, I mean, when a child is growing up, they need complete loving attention from their parents, and they need to create a very important bond, because otherwise this child will grow up with a natural lack of dopamine. Dopamine is a drug that's released. It's like a reward drug. It makes you feel good, but I'm sure if you're watching my videos and you know me, you probably already know about dopamine, and that will be a talk for another day. Sorry, I know I've said that maybe 3 times now. Anyway, so without those natural levels of dopamine, the person will go out to try and find that fix. This doesn't have to be drugs. I mean, look at gambling. It's exactly the same fucking thing, except you don't see people gambling too much being chucked in prison, do you? What I'm saying is they need help. They don't need to be thrown in prison. They need help. They need to look into the background of their childhood and experiences around that. This being said, I mean, parenting is one of the hardest jobs anyone could possibly ever have, and I'm not saying that from experience, and I'm not saying that because I know that for 100% fact, but I can only assume that, considering some parents may have children that grow into being addicts, but obviously the parents don't want that to fucking happen, but sometimes there are reasons why it happens, and it's a very difficult thing to nail and to find the root cause of these things. So what I'm trying to say is addicts are shown in a very, very dark light, which they shouldn't be. They're just people that need help at the end of the day. That is, that's it. So anyway, listen, that's my talk of the day on drugs. I will be talking a lot more on drugs. I'd really like to hear back from you about what you thought of this video, whether you think it's a good idea that I carry on doing videos like this, whether you agree with anything I said or whether you disagree with anything I've said. I'd love to hear every one of your comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to help support me and my channel. Thank you very much, guys. I know it's a bit of a different going in a different angle today, but I just want to start. YouTube is so saturated, but you can wait for my YouTube rant that's coming very soon to hear more about that. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. See you later on.